How's it going out there, everybody? Vince from Farmacyde here. Um, this is our second YouTube video, and I promise this one's not going to be as long like the last one. Um, but this video, I wanted to talk about one of the things that I've ran into so far as like DIY music. Well, not really DIY musician because I've been a musician in bands like my whole life, but I've always just been the drummer, and sometimes maybe support with lyrics and stuff like that, and passing out flyers and stuff. But like, I was never the face of the band. I was never, I was always just kind of the drummer. So now I'm like, I got this Twitter, and I'm trying to promote the band, and I'm, putting together a lot, more stuff, because back in the day, we didn't, we were using tape recorders, and with pillows and stuff over top of them to try to get a good recording. And then when we came up with like an 8-track recorder once, and that was like the bee's knees, so, but now with computers, we can do so much more. And so for my, I'm working on the third record right now, and I'm not sure whether it's going to be a full length or an EP, or maybe even a single. I'm not sure yet. But this first song, the opening track, is shaping up to be like a real beast of a track. It's probably going to be like an 18-20 minute track. It's going to be like a story and a whole thing. I actually spent last night doing a lot of work. I was going to try to start arranging riffs and stuff, but all I did was put together like the sound effect type stuff, and it was like an all-nighter almost, but it was one of the cool ones. So what am I talking about? Sound effects. The title of the video, where we're talking about sound effects and using it in music, and how do we do that. So for like a do-it-yourself guy, independent artist, somebody who's unsigned. If you're signed, the label is going to most likely handle a lot of the, of the grunt work. Even a lot of us who are on like things like CD Baby and TuneCore and stuff like that, they handle a lot of. They're like the publicists. They handle an aspect of the business for us. So, but like a record label will handle a whole lot more. And if you're doing the type things where you're going to be using sound effects and you got cover art, excuse me, there's always a reason to learn this stuff, I think. And this is just the kind of a little small crash course that I put together just in working on these first couple EPs. So let's just dive right in here. For one, I'm going to start out talking about most of the stuff that we're going to be using in our pursuit of finding, free for commercial use, graphics and audio that we can use in our projects. We're going to need to know about the Creative Commons license and Creative Commons attribution. So I'll have a link at the bottom for all this stuff that we're talking about. There'll be links for everything that you can look deeper into. But so the first thing is going to be, for some of the things, there's no requirement for attribution. You can use it freely, and you don't have to say anything. For others, you can use it, but you have to. It's kind of like when you're in school and you got to cite. You're writing a paper and you got to cite your material. It's pretty much the same thing. You have to cite it, and there's a format that you cite it in. And again, I'll put an example of the format in the description down here. And that's how you keep yourself covered from getting sued. So let's move on. For starters, we will talk about images. You may, for cover art, for supporting cover art inside your jackets, whatever. you may or may not want to end up using some images. For me, there's a lot of cuts in this video because I've got a cold, so I gotta keep on stopping to blow my nose and stuff. But in the Farmacyde EP, the first EP, and in the second EP that comes out in June. Well, it comes out in April on Bandcamp, but earlier release there. But I used pictures for the cover art that I found on the internet, free for commercial use images. And then like for the Farmacyde EP, I needed a farm. So I found a free for use, commercial use image of a farm, and then I used an image, GIMP. I used a program called GIMP, which is like Photoshop, but it's free, to make it look like the sky was kind of on fire, and to give the ground the reddish type hue and all that kind of stuff, and to make the CD jackets for it to put like the track number, all that kind of stuff on there. Which I'll talk about. The two programs that can really help you in this process is GIMP and Audacity. They're both free, and you can use them to put all this kind of stuff together. So the website that I was speaking of for images is called Pexels, Pexels, and you can download stuff without signing up, but you can't download really high resolution stuff without signing up. And you're going to want really high resolution stuff when you're working with cover art and all that, because you need it to be you want it to look good. So Pexels is a really good website. They have all kinds of stuff on there, free for commercial use, and you can. I'm sure you can find other things, but so far they've had everything that I've needed. For this third record, I had actually found album art that I wanted to use already for it, but at some point, it's like back in the day, we had to find somebody who knew how to draw, and then they would design your logo and all that for you. But today we can use computers and fonts and different things, depending on if they're, as long as we have the license to do it. So I might hire somebody to actually do custom art for the third one. I'm not sure yet. Probably not. I'll probably continue keeping it just very basic and in-house for now, but we'll see. You never know. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Moving on. We talked about images, Pexels, and now I'm going to talk about audio. So for the end of the Farmacyde EP, at the very last track, there's a drum fill at the end of the song, and then when the cymbal crashes, there's an effect of glass breaking. I had to download that from the internet, and I found it free for commercial use, no attribution required. So I put it in there. The beginning of that record, where the guy's saying, you better enjoy yourself for the next 15 to 20 minutes, that's actually me saying that. I really wanted to use a clip from the Twilight Zone, but after talking to a couple attorneys and checking some things out, it would have cost way too much money to do it legally. So, but the attorneys were telling me that if I re-record it myself, just a few second clip, it's you can't copyright a sentence of words. So that's what I ended up doing. I just recreated it. I tried to kind of sound like the guy, and I did that for my intro. Now that being said, several demos years back, we used a clip from Apocalypse Now in one of our demos, and we used a clip from A Clockwork Orange in another demo that we did like way back when in the like early 90s, and never got sued or anything for it. But it's a different time these days. I mean, you upload something and it's already being scanned to see if it's you have the permission to upload it. So like I said, that being said, I found 3 different websites that I've been using, because like I said, this song that I'm working on now, there is a lot of layered sound effect type stuff. I'll let you hear a little bit of it in the video here, but I put a lot of stuff together because this is like cheesy horror story. It's not no like crazy, but it's, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately, and this song is shaping into like a little ghost story type opera type metal. It's metal, and it's brutal, like as far as the gloom and the doom and all. It's not like crazy fast brutal death metal. It's more like doom stoner type metal, groove type metal. Same stuff that we've been putting out, from the first EP. But getting off topic, the websites are going to be there's a website called Sound Bible, a website called Partners in Rhyme, and a website called freesound.org. All three of these have the same thing. They have all kinds of free for commercial use stuff, and some of it needs to be attributed, some of it doesn't. You just got to look at the license before you download and see what you need to do. And like I said, you can put together a lot of stuff just with that. So the two programs I wanted to talk about, like I said, is GIMP and Audacity. With either one of those programs, you can really do a lot, and they're both free. Like I said, GIMP is pretty much Photoshop. Audacity is not a DAW. It's definitely not a full DAW. It's really, you can only mix tracks, and it's got a little bit of plugins for stuff, and it might even have more that you can download. I've never really downloaded any extra stuff because I use it mainly for mixing. But it'll get you by until you can buy another program that is a little bit more tailored towards what you're doing, But anyway, quick listen to this sound clip here. This is about the first. So my kid's toy. It's like some kind of. It's like we're in a rainforest. This is the first about minute of the opening track, and there's a lot of different stuff layered here. Like, this is all was built, so you're gonna hear a guy driving and listening to some music and getting out of the car, walking up to the house, and it's all just different sound clips free for commercial use that were layered and built in Audacity. And it's not mixed or anything yet, so it's the levels may be kind of off and this and that. It's not a finished product. It's just synchronized, basically, so far. So without further ado, we can check that out. There's a little quick vocal at the end with some outtakes. It's pretty funny because my wife always she just makes these funny expressions when I'm doing like death metal style growls and vocals and stuff like that for projects. And I started thinking about it, and then I started laughing, and just one of those little funny moments while I was doing I recorded a lot of the vocal work a few nights ago for this, and then I put it in last night. So anyway, check it out. Man, long day. Jeez. It's fun. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about in this thing here. Just giving guys a heads up on the fact that if we have to give credit where credit's due, and just like when you're writing a paper in school, you got to make sure you cite your work. So this is a way that you can cite your stuff and upload it for commercial use and be hopefully cool. I haven't ran into any problems yet, and I have one thing that I'm doing is when I finish a recording, like for the Farmacyde EP, the Syncquisition EP, they each have their own file, which is in a zipped file, like a zip folder, and in that folder contains like the UPC codes, the ISRC numbers, the album art, the of all different kinds for websites and for the actual CD. And all that. It has all the stem files. It has the whole kit and caboodle. And in that is also a text file of all of the things that were downloaded and the copies of the licenses that a link to the page that I found it on, and a copy of what cut and paste of what license it was using, so that I have a file. All I got to do is go into that zip folder for whatever EP is finished, and once the EP is completely finished, that's when I make this file, zip it away, and put it on a thumb drive in my safe, and there you go. You have so if anybody ever does email me down the road and says, hey, you use this in this recording, and I can say, well, here's where I downloaded it from, here's the license, here's how I attributed it, the whole 9 yards. And other than that, that's really about it. I just wanted to share that, because like I said, this is all new to me. Being the spokesperson, the promoter, the complete writer and composer of all the material, it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm actually finding that, like, just keeping up with doing Twitter is taken away from writing the music a little. So I'm just trying to find a happy medium with things, and I really wanted to do like a YouTube video a week for the for the channel, but we'll see. I'm trying. Like I said, the Twitter is overwhelming me a little more than I thought it would at this point, and that's about a wrap. Because I said this was going to be a real short video, and here I'm still like, but I want to share everything that I'm learning here, and hopefully I'll be able to answer some questions. Some of you guys who might be like, yeah, I wanted to use this or that. How do I do it? Hopefully it'll help out, because I spent some time researching a lot of this stuff to figure it out for myself. So that's about that, and definitely subscribe, like, and all that stuff, and leave some comments if you're interested in whatever, talking or whatever. And I want to say that's everything. Keep it metal. See you, everybody.